Luka Doncic and Slovenia take care of business in game one of group play in the FIBA World Cup. Let's talk about Luka Doncic, Mike Tobey, and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome to Locked On Mavs. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, contributor to Mavs.com, Studio 41. Riding solo today because we got to talk about Luka Doncic and Slovenia. Game one in the group play stage here and for the FIBA World Cup. So you're getting a little bonus pod over the weekend. Nick knocked one out yesterday on Australia's game and Dwight Powell's game with Canada. Shout out. Nick was the one. He didn't want to do any content about Dwight Powell. So, I mean, thank you for you guys holding him accountable. Make sure you reach out and shoot him a text on Subtext. That's a way you can support us is through Subtext. You can subscribe through there, through the link in the description. And you can stay up to date with latest rumors, news, all that stuff. We do some Q&As on there. We kind of shifted to doing a lot of that stuff on Subtext instead of via Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And as we continue following Slovenia through the FIBA World Cup, got a question for you below. Could Mike Tobey work in the NBA? Could he play in the NBA? Because there might not be another Slovenia player that I enjoy more watching outside of Luka than Mike Tobey. All right, let's talk about some Slovenia basketball. Got my Luka jersey up there. Got some shoes up there. Got different stuff. I had to break some Slovenia stuff out from the Olympic run and all of that stuff. But it's pretty wild that ever since Luka has, I assume this is probably like the early days of Dirk, or when Dirk started kind of peaking or ascending here in Dallas. I was obviously younger back then, but that people kind of adopted the Germany national team whenever he played, for them as like kind of like their second team. And now this is, it's like I'm watching some of these, these players for Slovenia. I'm like, oh, Prepelic, all right, cool. I like him. I remember him. He's a fiery little guard, loves to, launch and get shots up. I love watching Mike Tobey. Man, he's so crafty. He does the right things. His set shot from three reminds me of Ilgauskas back in the day. His like chemistry with Luka is just so much fun. He knows where Luka's like, he just knows the spots to be in, and Luka's going to find him. He could defend. I love watching Mike Tobey play, but it's just fun seeing a lot of these guys. Have, been trying to research some of the new guys. I know some of our Slovenia listeners. You either one, love that we're covering your team, or two, you're just constantly yelling at our YouTube or audio saying, y'all don't know anything about these guys. We know about these guys. So yes, that's where call us out. Call me out. If I'm mispronouncing something, I want to know it. If I'm missing something, or I think somebody else is, I'm attributing something to somebody and I get it wrong, let me know. I want to know. Okay. Because one, we're going to cover the Slovenia team nonstop. And two, we love these guys. Like the documentary that Luke has been sharing, which is really fun. Make sure you go check that out. It's on YouTube, different places. He's sharing on his platforms. But, there was one part of that saying, one of the guys, it might have been Dragic that was saying Zoran, and that was saying, hey, we've been playing together for almost 15, 20 years. And that's what you see the most when you watch this team play, that you see chemistry, you see ball movement, you see them moving off ball, knowing where they're going to be. You see, it just looks like a team of guys that know how, to play together. And obviously there's, a few young guys in there too, and no Goran. But today was their first, or this morning, you listen to this maybe on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning. They played early Saturday morning against Venezuela at around 6:15, 6:30. I was actually up with my son. Shout out to toddlers who pee in their beds. That is a blast. It's nothing like changing a wet bed of your toddler whenever you're half asleep. Anyway, all right, back to the basketball here. So they played Venezuela in their first game, and they took care of business 100-85. Slovenia 100, Venezuela 85. Luka Doncic, carried the way for Slovenia. There's just nobody out there that could stop this guy. He finished with 39 points in the game. He had 7 boards, 6 assists, hit a couple threes. Basically Luka, he's 13 of 16 from the free throw line. Luka can get to the paint at will. We know that, right? We watch him in the NBA against some of the best talent in the world. It feels like he can get to the NBA or get to the rim at will. And then he plays a team like Slovenia or like Venezuela that I would say, how do I be nice? I would say they're not good. All right. So that's probably about the not the greatest. I would assume they're probably not going to advance. If I had to bet, I would say Slovenia and Georgia are the two best teams in this group. Probably, yes. Anyway, and they play on Monday, by the way, early in the morning. But Venezuela is just not that good, but they had the best game plan you could possibly think of, right? Like this would be my game plan if I was a team in the World Cup. And I know that I don't have a Luka Doncic. I don't have a stacked USA team or a Canada team or whoever it is. And it's like, all right, I know we're not going to have the same talent as some of these other teams. What I would do is say, all right, I'm going to build our team with just outside shooters. It's like, all right, we're not going to be able to defend at a high clip. We're just going to launch the threes. And that's what I would do. I would just say, hey, I want to make the team makeup be all these 3-point shooters and shoot 40 to 50 threes a game and just say, you know what, we're just going to have to try to outscore them. And that was kind of Venezuela's thing with Slovenia because they shot 40 threes in this game and they shot 40% from those threes. If you watch this game, which you can watch this on ESPN Plus, by the way, and they're on demand, which is pretty good. So you can watch it live or on demand. But Venezuela, man, they just kept on hitting threes. And, for the first good portion of the game, it's like, all right, are we going to, we just going to contest these threes or we're just kind of banking that they're going to kind of not hit them at a high clip. And that's kind of what Slovenia, they lived with because it was the kind of the opposite on the other end. You look at paint points for Slovenia because, once again, Venezuela didn't have anybody that could guard Luka. So Luka, whenever it's close or if Luka gets frustrated, there was a moment. It was a great moment in the game, but it was like you can find, especially if you've watched Luka, for a while now, and if you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you watch a lot of Luka Doncic play basketball. Nick and myself have watched every game he's played in the NBA and I guess non-NBA since he's been a Maverick, but it's like you can start picking up on some of these small things when he gets frustrated, when he gets annoyed with somebody, whenever somebody does something that kind of pisses him off that you're like, all right, probably shouldn't piss you off, but you're going to get pissed off when that player does that. There was a player from Venezuela who picked him off in the second half. I think it was like third quarter. Just picked his pocket, went in, had an easy layup and a fast break. Good play on defense. But I'm like, and Luka, it's like, you shouldn't get pissed off. Like the dude did what he's supposed to do, but I'm like, oh, this dude's done for because Luka's just going to get annoyed with this guy. And Luka just comes down, literally just like spreads the team out and says, clear out. He gets into the paint, pump fakes, gets the guy in the air, gets him for a foul. It's like anytime Luka gets mad at somebody, he's like, I'm going to back down, either get you to foul me or I'm going to score on you. So, or he's going to do the step back three. It's like, that's the Luka Doncic experience. But you look at points in the paint for Slovenia, and a lot of this has to do with Luka, if not him creating it. But 44 points in the paint for Slovenia versus 22 for Venezuela there. But Yeah, I mean, I think one of the cooler things, or one of just the basketball strategy parts of this game, and really not just this game, is some of the warm-ups and stuff, is, Luka playing off ball. And I think this is what you're going to see a lot with with the Mavericks this coming season, that not technically off the, running all these big time sets of Luka running around everywhere and all of that, but just taking just taking the ball out of his hands and let him kind of just like walk down the floor or kind of jog down the floor, to where he doesn't have to be the guy that's consistently bringing the ball to the floor, and then the other team has like a Lou Dort or a Marcus Smart or somebody that's picking him up full court and making him kind of work through there. And but so like you look at the the Slovenia team, and they had Nikolic, that was basically the point guard, if we want to say that. And Nikolic was the guy bringing the ball up the floor every time. It was Luka coming down, starting off ball, but then just doing just a slight little movement, one little action, come off one screen, or just kind of a jab step in the middle, and just like then get the ball and kind of go to work from the wing there. I think we're going to see that a ton for Dallas this season, with Kyrie bringing the ball up, being the primary like point guard. And then, them creating a lot of their sets and stuff with Luka there on the wing, or Luka just coming to the top of the key. So let's talk a little bit more about this game. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back talking about the game, and then we'll set up for the next few days of FIBA World Cup. This podcast is brought to you by, drumroll please, FanDuel. FanDuel, our friends at FanDuel. All right, we got to look up some odds here for going to the FanDuel Sportsbook here, and let's look at some odds for the FIBA World Cup. FIBA World Cup, just the outright winner. Let's look at this. Does Slovenia make the top 6? No, they do not. Ooh. USA is a -140. Canada +500. Canada's looking good right now. Australia, our guys, Josh Green, Dante Exum +750. Then you're looking at Serbia, Spain, and France after that. If you're confident about Slovenia, man, start looking at some more odds here, because you could keep on going down, maybe make some money if Slovenia makes a run through there. But FanDuel, get ready, because y'all know it's fantasy football season right now, because the NFL season is about to start up. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all new customers who bet $5 will get $100 off in NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right. Let's get back. There's too many buttons to click when it comes to these transitions. I know y'all miss me doing transitions. I know. Let's talk about some more things about this game. Do we know what Luka's new tattoo is? I know some people have left it in the comments about Luka having a new tattoo. It's probably out there somewhere, but I'm like, I was like, pause my TV. I'm like, is that like a shattered clock? I don't know what. Anyway, I need new details on the Luka tattoo on the opposite shoulder. So, anybody got any deets on that? Hit me up. I kind of felt bad for Venezuela at times. They went zone for a little bit. I'm like, guys, y'all can't do this. All right. Like, Luka is literally going to pick you apart like a surgeon. And he did. He was picking them apart with his eyes. It's just, they went zone, and he's just like looking off, and then he's hitting Toby for, layups. He's hitting some people in the corner. I'm like, what? I don't even know what. Like, y'all can't play that. But the problem is, like, they can't play man either, because Luka can just overpower them. Really, the only thing they could have done is like try to double team. But when you double team a guy like Luka, he's just going to find the open guy every time. And they have such good chemistry, they're just going to cut. There's really just nothing that they could do. So, yeah, kind of felt bad for them. But, I think one of the biggest things for, this Slovenia team is what happens in the non-Luka minutes, right? Like when they play a good team, what happens when Luka is off the floor? So Luka played 30 minutes in this game. This is obviously they're shorter games in FIBA than in NBA, and I would assume he plays probably a little bit more against some of these better teams. Maybe if it's a closer game, even though Venezuela kept it close for decent chunk there in the beginning. But what happens when Luka's off the floor? Can the other guys score enough? Can Prepelic is coming off the bench? His cousin, their cousin Nick, shot out a tweet about him being brothers, I think. But his cousin, which at first, when I first saw them, to Nick's defense, when I first saw their names together, because I honestly don't know much about. Here we go. Bean. I don't know how to say the cousin's name. Prepelic, the one that started. I don't know much about him, so I was like, "Dang, are they brothers?" This was me like a few weeks ago when I saw the roster, but then I looked it up, and all right, they're cousins. But with Prepelic coming off the bench, the vet number 7 there, he's the fiery scorer. He's so much fun to watch because like he gets pissed off, he's just gonna make a dumb foul, and it's like you could see it coming from 100 miles an hour. But the dude's kind of a flamethrower too. So, he hit 3 threes in this game. My guy, Mike Tobey, hit 3 threes in this game. I love the combo of him and Dimich off the bench, or Dimich, and because it's like a young Ilgauskas and a Nikola Pekovic. So bet you didn't expect to hear about Pekovic and Ilgauskas in this podcast today, but they kind of remind me of those two guys, younger versions. But those two bigs, they kind of alternate minutes for the most part. And then you have the scores of the Prepelic, Blazic, how much can Nikolic do? He kind of running the point and all of that. So that's the thing, Zoran. And also, can those guys kind of combine? Because Prepelic had 18, Nikolic had 12 in this game. Obviously, Luka had 39, but when Luka is off the floor, and they held their ground. They actually extended the lead when Luka was off the floor there in that first half. So I made a note of that, because if they can hold down the fort, or man, even extend the lead in some cases when Luka's off the floor, then that's going to be huge from them. Luka had this play earlier in the game that was just an absolute. He had a couple of these moments that the highlights would have been all over social media if the guy hit the shot. And Prepelic, the bigger one who started, number 32, he had a shot in the corner. Luka had just insane over the back no look pass, or over the shoulder no look pass. Prepelic for 3, and he airballed it by about 2 feet too long. So got to hit the shot. I wrote down another note. We know this, but the chemistry with Mike Tobey is just so much fun. I know I've mentioned this before, but just they know where each other's at. I just love them playing together. Is it bad that I want Mike Tobey on the Mavs? I know it's probably one of those things where, like, Isaac, you're just being too homerish, and you're just falling victim to the moment. Once he gets to the NBA, he's not going to be. I get all of that. I just selfishly just want him on the dang Mavs. I don't know. Anyway, I know I'm wrong. Make fun of me, but I want him on the Mavs. I love his chemistry with Luka. He's big and he can hit threes. It's just a lot of fun to watch him play. Last note about the game. The Luka 2s are growing on me. All right. Big fan of the Luka 1s, multiple pairs of Luka 1s. Actually wore some tonight for date night with the wife. And yeah, I love the Luka 1s. Luka 2s were kind of like, that first colorway for me was kind of tough for me. And but love the Luka 2 Matadors that he wore in this game. And I'm waiting for the Lake Bleds. And Mike Tobey had the Lake Bleds on today. So kind of like that color. Don't have a shoe that's that color, to be honest. So I think I'm going to aim for the Lake Bleds. Anybody got any hookups? Hit me up. I think that's all my notes. It's all my notes for Slovenia, Venezuela. It was the Luka Doncic show. I mean, this game was about a team that was that with one player on the floor that's better than everybody else on the floor by a mile in Luka, but also a team that had so much chemistry and just a little bit overall more talent, playing a Venezuela team that honestly this would have been a 20 to 30 point loss for them if they didn't hit 40% of their threes and they shot 40 of them. And so anyway, Slovenia Monday against Georgia. Georgia is a feisty team, man. They got some doing more research and stuff on them. Yeah, it's not just about Goga and Mamu, and they got some guys on their team that have been playing for them for a while. I just wouldn't watch. I wouldn't look at Georgia and say, all right, their best players Goga, and just look at the NBA players. I'm a little scared about that game. So hopefully watch Slovenia beat them by like 20 and I look stupid, but little scared for that one. Looking forward to watching it. I'll actually be doing a live broadcast, a side broadcast, alternate broadcast, I guess, of that game on Mavs.com with Bobby from Studio 41, 6:30 in the morning. So shout out if you want to watch the game with us. We're not showing the game. Remember, you can kind of like watch with us as you watch the game and all of that stuff. But we'll be back tomorrow. Australia plays early Sunday morning. I think it's like 3:15 or something. But Australia is one of the favorites for this whole tournament. They're a lot of fun to watch with Josh Green, Dante Exum, Josh Giddey, and Ingles and Patty Mills and a bunch of those guys. Had a chance to be 3 Mavericks with Thibault and stuff. Watched a little bit of them earlier. They were fun. So yeah, we'll have a podcast tomorrow talking about that Australia game. And then yeah, we'll make sure we'll touch on Dwight Powell's efficient minutes as the starter for Team Canada. What if Canada goes on to win this game and Dwight's the starting center for the FIBA World Cup champion Team Canada? Take that. See you tomorrow. Peace out. Boom. Where's the outro?